All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Think Like a Leader, the show that exists to end amateur leadership by helping emerging leaders become the most dependable person in any room that they walk into. I'm your host, as always, Dorian, and today's guest is Jon Green. He's the founder of Green Ties, and he teaches young men how to be men, but more importantly, how to be gentlemen. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Jon, welcome, man. I appreciate you.
Good morning. All I can express is gratitude. Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, man. So I want to start with a line that you said that's been stuck in my head since I saw the video. And you were talking to a young man, and I'm going to repeat and I'm going to quote you here. You said, I don't know if you should respect me, but do I respect myself? Absolutely. So that allows me to show you respect regardless. Walk me into that moment when you said that. What happened right before? Where were you, and what was the energy like there?
So no, I had the great opportunity at a young men's conference out of Oakland. It was about 200 kids at this event, and kind of broke it up into smaller classes, and a number of gentlemen signed up for a gentleman conduct class. Um, and I just really opened up the forum because we want our kids to act polite. We want them to be gentlemen, but we really don't have to give them, more or less a playground to kind of exercise these gentleman values or these gentleman questions and how they feel about being a man and becoming a man. So that's where the conversation kind of started between me and this young man was about respect and, not feeling respected. And why do I be polite in a world that's not polite to me? And that's how kind of just segued in really into the conversation, just strictly by saying, these attributes like a handshake. And I did a great example of, there's three gentlemen. I shook two of the first hands, and the last third one, I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And just to feel that palatable, feeling of almost disrespect as in, "Well, why can't I get a handshake?" Because human contact is, very important. Eye contact is very important, and actually seeing somebody else is very, very important because we all want to be seen, and that's where, as far as the respect came from, um, because, in the example and everything, I walked away and kinda let that kinda simmer a little bit, and this gentleman's kinda looking at me side eye. I'm like, "We feel weird, don't we? We feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect because we didn't shake hands." And that's when I kinda went over there and I was like, shook his hand and everything. That's where kinda led into because I respect myself, that I'm able
What?
to apologize to you because I
Yeah,
know I did you wrong by doing
yeah.
that. So
In that moment, though, what did you see in him, specifically that made you go there instead of maybe like not like snapping back or not, showcasing? What made you go there with that young man there?
I I think it's, not to get too cheesy or anything, but it was just in his eyes, and it was just the way he was looking at me that this was a moment for him to really comprehend. He was really locked in on me, and just to really cement this that, this gentleman conduct thing, although the world gets the benefit from my behavior, it's not for the world, it's for myself. Because the question that was leading up to this was, "Mr. Green, have you ever been, disrespected while, you were being polite?" Like, if you ever opened the door for a woman and a woman said, "Hey, excuse me, I don't need you to do that," or something of the sort. And I said, "Absolutely." So the biggest question that kept coming around the day is, "What do you do, Mr. Green, when you're being disrespected?" And I use this example of, I've opened a couple doors and been told, "Excuse me, I don't need you to do that." And the only thing I've ever said would be something as such as in, "Well, I apologize, miss, but it's not for you, and it wasn't for you in the first place. It's for me. Like, I refuse to not be who I want to be, and this gentleman conduct thing is a real thing for me, and I would feel a certain way if I didn't open the door." So I didn't give her 30 words or anything, but it was, "I apologize, miss, but it wasn't for you." And just really just kinda, words are so powerful, you just leave somebody with that. She obviously didn't have much to say after that because "What? What did you say? Did you open the door and I got offended, but you didn't do it for me in the first place?" Because I think gentleman conduct is really just non-negotiable, and really just kinda gives us that power, and that's why I was really cementing with that gentleman, because what I say to the kids a lot is, "I'm a great guy. I do great things, I'm polite and respectful, I work hard and everything, but I'm not a nice guy, and I'm
Mm,
not here to play nice with you guys. I'm not here to play nice with the status quo, the education system, society in general. I'm very unhappy with how things are going, and I'm just not going to be a nice guy about it. So when I'm delivering these messages, I promise you, I'm just completely just, I don't want to say cutthroat, but it is so important. These things I'm trying to teach need to be hammered home because I know there's such a lack of this type of education that when I have those moments of this that piercing look like, Mr. Green, what is the answer to this? And why should I do this? I try to just, I try to be as aggressive I can be, but obviously being polite.
And I love that, man. I love that. So, for our listeners, for the people who don't know you, who is John Green and what is Green Ties?
Well, John Green, uh, how can I say? I don't know. I don't know if I'm truly special or anything, but I know that I'm trying. I come from a single parent home myself, welfare, Section 8, all that cool stuff we can brag about. So when I go and talk to these kids, I work with, predominantly at risk youth, and I am them. I started this company to save a bunch of little me's and a bunch of my little homies and all that other stuff growing up. I'm looking for myself essentially. And Green Ties is just for my friends now that are still around and still alive. This is a way out. This is an avenue to bring our community and bring some of my other peers around me out. But this is also just, Green Ties is, I just want to say it's hope. And it's just, at least my training of life all condensed into a couple hours. That is what has actually worked for me and what's been proven to have worked. And, I don't think it comes as a bomb to anybody, but gentleman conduct, being respectful, being polite, man, it's the only way you're going to achieve everything that you want to achieve.
Yeah. Take well, I want you to take me back, and we you briefly touched on it, um, but before Green Ties, right? What was a little bit of your childhood like? What was missing from it that brings this energy and this conviction towards what you're doing today?
I just think growing up, being a part of the have-nots and understanding, the shame of kind of growing up poor and just feeling, always looking, you're in that hoopty car with your, single mom doing her best. Love you, mom. All the respect to mom. But then you look over in the car, you see the Mercedes next to you in the little SUV and everything like that. And you see the kids wrestling in the back over a Game Boy or, something of the sorts. And you're just looking up like, man, it's got to be better in that car. It's got to be a whole lot better. But then I realize life is life and who knows what's really going on. But just growing up a part of not being a part of the upper society that you would want. So knowing that I felt like I just was missing out. And I felt like if I just had more of a mentor or someone of an opportunity just to kind of just really shake me up and everything, just to give me the game and not give me, you know, the doctorated, form of it and everything, just for someone that you actually look up to, someone that you can actually see yourself in to be like, yo, hey, what you're doing is hurting yourself. You're upset because you don't have your family doesn't have money. You're upset you don't have a dad. You're upset that, you don't have these other things that other people have as far as tutoring and mentors and all these other people around you, but all you're doing is hurting yourself. You're taking your anger out and you're taking all of this insecurity that you have and you're really just hurting yourself and you're just acting out. I really and it's just such a complex thing as far as when I went to school, I was very popular. I was a three-sport athlete. I won homecoming pretty much every year. But I was also dealing with gangs as well because all of that still wasn't enough for me. And playing around in the streets and everything almost cost me my life. So when I talk to these kids, especially our boys that are really in the streets, kind of running around thinking they got it all figured out, I tell them flat out, if you can't see it in me already, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing about nothing. I'm here to help you, and I have a gift, and I just need you to meet me halfway so I can give it to you.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. So in your life, who were or did you have any men that did step in? I know we said that you didn't have a father in the house, and growing up, but were there men in your life that did step up, coaches, mentors, teachers? And what did they do that actually worked for you in that time frame? when you were younger?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, no, definitely coaches, because being an athlete and everything, and coming home to the Bay to start this company and everything, I get to run into a lot of my coaches, which has
It's
been
nice.
so an opportunity to give them their flowers that they deserve. Because I was a little bit rough, a little bit hot headed, a little bit coming off with the mouth. And I used to say to my coaches all the time, number one thing was, "Who do you think you are? Like,
Mm.
you not know who I am? Who do you think you are talking to me like that?" And then, this has happened a couple months ago. I ran into a coach and I was able to be like, "You know who you were? A grown man spending his off time working with young kids like me that we needed guidance, we didn't have fathers, you knew we needed some help and some game to get us through, and you actually gave up your own time to do all that. That's who you were." And I just wanna say thank you to all my coaches and everybody that's, seeing my face, that's worked with me and everything. Eternally, eternally grateful. Um, and it was really just a really driving force, because some of the other adults I had around me were not good role models. And that's the people you kinda look up to and the people you kinda aspire to be, but knowing that that's very, very, short-lived, because, even the pain from, like, even playing sports and everything, and I hope some kids are out there can relate to this, or even some of us adults. I'm a starter, man. I'm one of the guys on the team and everything like that, but I don't have no family or anybody coming to my games to watch me or support me. So, God forbid, big play, big touchdown, you know what I'm saying? You got the whole team picking you up and it's hoorah, like, "Yeah, John, oh my god," like, "Yeah, absolutely, man, bro." You put down, the game's over. Timmy gets to go to the pizza party with his dad, Ron over there gets to go with his whole family because 'cause they're so excited, and, then you got Paul over here that doesn't even play, jersey completely clean, but, his family's there with signs, the horns, they're going to expensive dinner, and you got Mr. All that, star athlete, all this other stuff, and what am I doing? I'm walking home by myself at the end of the game. Mr. Popular, Mr. Cool, and everything like that, but I'm walking home in my socks because I don't wanna ruin my cleats, and the reality of, just feeling like that. Um, so it's all, just growing up and everything, why I'm so, destined and feeling so compelled to do this, is because of all of those positives and all those negatives as well.
Yeah, because in your situation, and I really do appreciate you sharing that because it's powerful to understand the pros and the cons of like your life, and how you've gotten to this point. And you didn't just learn your form of leadership through like books or school or those types of things. You actually learned it, funny enough, from absence, right? The absentee of the things that other people have had, and then you also learned it from the people that still showed up anyway, like your coaches, right? Maybe
Absolutely.
not realizing it at the time, right? Because we're kids and we're a little bit naive, a little bit, but it
Certainly.
was their presence that allows you to still see what leadership is, right? And I think that's an awesome takeaway from that. When when did it click that you weren't just kind of surviving, that you were supposed to build something from this? Like, well, when did you realize like this is I need to do something with what I've learned?
I think it's been a culminating of a lot of things kinda just leading up to it. Ever since I was a little kid, I can't even, as far as getting vulnerable and everything and being men, y always saying I was moonwalking since I was, like, 5 years old, man. Seriously. Big fan. Um, and I always felt like I was supposed to do something big ever since I was a little kid. Growing up in my family and everything, I'm a little more turned up, a little more of a wild card and everything, so you just kinda saw the whole family. I definitely kinda stand out a little bit in the sense when I was even younger, like, "Man, we're kinda growing up poor, man, and everybody seems kinda cool with it." Like, everybody seems kinda comfortable, and I'm like, "Lord, you gotta get me out of here, man. I gotta get out of here." Um but just the cultivation, because I mean, I used to be, in my driveway over there dancing to Michael Jackson and everything, praying and literally visualizing a limousine driving down my street, rolling down the window like, "Kid, you got talent, we're gonna get you out of here." And that was a real dream, something I really prayed for as a kid. But growing up, and just traveling around and having this kind of, way about myself, especially in my adult years, I was always told to write a book. And, you know, how do you do what you do? And how do you do this? And, you know, we just want your kind of recipe and everything. Which jump started Green Ties because I did release the book last year called Gentlemen of Fortune Academia. And when the book was actually in my hand, it took me many years to put it together. But when I actually looked at it in my hand, the epiphany was there as far as humble beginnings, kind of, you know, terrible kind of life and per se and everything. But now I'm an author. Like, like that was never supposed to be a part of the plan. That was never be in there. And the epiphany was, well, maybe we're not dreaming big enough. All of us.
Hmm.
Or maybe we're really just not applying ourselves or even thinking these things are actually possible. And that's when the kind of school kind of came into my mind as far as what can I give back? What can I do that I would absolutely love to do every day that wouldn't feel so much like work and actually enjoy it. And that's when the kind of school kind of came to my mind and kind of just started putting it together. And soon as the plan was there, I was in January of last year. I can't really explain it. My faith is very strong, and I was given these kind of flashes of the success I was going to have, and that I had to go, and I had to go immediately. And we did that, and yeah, the rest has been a kind of work in progress. But we did achieve all the things that I was given in my head, which has only brought me closer in my faith. Because yeah, I was and this vision board was insane, man. The vision board was insane. It had podcasts, it had, you know, like TV, it, you know, I had these other awards and, you know, I wanted to win a major city award, which was absolutely insane. And it literally all happened in 10 months.
Wow. Wow.
And, you know, one of
And
those flashes of me being on a stage and, you know, accepting this award actually did come true. We were able last year to win the local city award, local hero award. Received a proclamation from my mayor at the time, something from the senator, something from the governor, and it's insane. But we're just very blessed to have for the accolades.
nah, man, first off, your flowers there, man. Congratulations to that because it's a very awesome achievement, but you only get that achievement of those types of things when you're serving other people. Right. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is all of the things that you were looking to do are actually in service to others. Right. So, and we know the more value you kind of put on yourself, the more value you gain, the more you can help others. Right. And I think that's something that you've been able to do. But I want to ask why the at risk young men specifically? Right. Why is this personal enough for you to dedicate your entire life to it?
'Cause now this is me. Like I said earlier, like, I'm looking just for a bunch of little me's, and you taking, you know, from my experience and, you know, like you said, kind of figuring this out on my own, I know exactly what a lot of these kids wanna hear, and I know what I needed to hear that, you know, at times I just wasn't told. And it's all very simple stuff, but it's like being seen and someone looking at you in the eyes. And I you know, when I give my talks and do these presentations and the workshops, you know, one thing's like, I'm gonna tell you guys 2 things I wish I woulda heard. And I take the time to look them all in the eye and be like, "Number 1, I believe in you. I really believe
Mm.
whatever you want to do, just tell me. Give me your big goal, give me your big dream. I'll give you a blueprint, and we'll block it out, and we'll get you there. There's no doubt in my mind that you guys are gonna be good."
They're in places where they don't hear that really. What is the response that you get from them? Because I'm very curious as to
Yeah.
what they're
It's
feeling.
it's a lot of silence. You
Mm.
know, it's a lot of I think it's a little overwhelming. A lot of them break eye contact with me because it's just like, "Whoa, hey, uh." Because it's like this allure of success seems so, you know, distant and far beyond and impossible to achieve. But then when we start breaking it down and just using words, just, you know, say like, you know, and break down that goal and everything, I think they start feeling that connection. They start feeling that even self love that someone cares and you should care about yourself because I care about you. Because, you know, what are you going to do now? You know, we have these stories on our head. We run through these scenarios. We feel how we feel about life and not having things and people not caring and everything. But now you have someone in front of you. that's literally given you their time, their effort. I promised them, a gentleman keeps his words. I have resources, I have connections, I have other nonprofits I work with. There's so many amazing people doing amazing things that may not have the shine at this moment or the funds or anything, but it doesn't mean we can't bring them into the fold. And I know it's making the connections when the kids are just staring and they just like, because what now? Because what can you say now? Tell me what you want and we'll do it. Like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. So, I usually follow up with, I believe in you is, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say something crazy. And I want you guys just to hear me. I'm going to say it twice. I care about you guys. And just let it sit. And I look at them again, like, I honestly care about you guys. I want you guys to be great. With this amount of numbers, there's like 30, 40 kids in a class. Those statistics alone, a couple of you guys are going to be great. With or without my help, you're going to be great. A couple of you guys. And for you guys right now sitting in the crowd, and you said in your mind, yeah, that's going to be me. I hear you. I hear you. And if you can just entrust in me, give me your big goal. Because, I put in my book, if you set your goals high enough, your failures may surpass other people's achievements. Like we're just playing it safe. And there's nothing, I have gentlemen that'd be like, well, I just want to do construction like my dad. Like, awesome. Awesome. You want to work with your hands. We need more trades. Green ties. We definitely push trades big time. Like, perfect. But young man, you're 14 years old. Let me push you a little bit to get the education because let's start with owning a chain of construction companies. Let's start there. Because if that doesn't work for you, you don't want to do that, great. At least you own your own company. And that doesn't work for you, perfect. You're going to walk on to the job site at 18, a supervisor or a foreman. We have the time, we have the opportunity. I just need you guys to dream big. And the rapport has been awesome because a lot of these kids, being at risk and, talking your mess and feeling, disappointed all the time and feeling let down. What are you going to do now? You know, what are you going to do now? You've been hoping and praying something to fall out of the sky one day. Here we are. Now what?
Yeah. And I think that's a good question to leave them with too, right? Because that allows them to think about, dang, what do I want? Because I think that's a missing piece to a lot of people. They don't actually even know what they want. And I want to touch on the blueprint because here at Think Like a Leader, we like talking about the frameworks, the systems and stuff that people put into place, right? And so when you're talking to these young
Absolutely.
kids, what is part of this blueprint? Let's just say like the first page of that blueprint, for
Yep.
the young men that you are working with who haven't heard the I need, haven't heard that someone believes in them, haven't heard that someone cares about them. They kind of hear that and they're almost like they're so used to not hearing it, they don't believe you when you say it, right? Like I'm sure that's a barrier. So what's the
Yes.
first page of the blueprint, for the boys that you're working with right now?
Yeah, no, the first page starts with one very simple question that really just kind of opens it up. Because when we're talking about your life, it should be exciting. Your goals should sound ridiculous to somebody that's just closed minded. Your dream should make someone look at you and be like, who do you think you are? That's where we should start. That should be the dream. So the first question on the worksheet is if failure wasn't an option, how big would you dream right now? Like how big would we go if you knew you could not fail? And that usually takes the longest because they're gonna sit there and just stare at it like, well, it'd be really big. Like, my man, now we're talking. All right, let's keep working. And as soon as we get that big, big goal, because there's no excuse not to get there. And that's what, because the system's in place, there's always steps to be taken. And there's no excuse for not working. Because even the kids that are super talented, and and I've learned this the hard way in my life, when talent meets talent in the world, talent's not enough. Talent's gonna wiggle you up as far as talent will take you until you meet another talented person that wiggled up just like you. The only thing that's gonna separate you is work ethic. And I say this to a lot of my student athletes. someone's gonna make the team that's not physically as good as you. They're just have more of a sports IQ. They just play the game better. They read defenses, they read schemes, they know they're better at the game than you, and you're a better athlete, which is fine, but without you being a gentleman, without you being polite, your relationship with your coach is more important than your relationship with the game on the court.
And
But, you know,
that's like a form of self-leadership too, right? Like understanding what exactly you need to do to capitalize on your talent. And I think that's a great message for these young kids because I know I was the opposite where I was such a hard worker. My lack of talent got me to where I ended up, like it was, I didn't have much talent. I wasn't the super athletic person. I wasn't I was strong, but I wasn't the strongest person. But man, I studied film. Like I was 13 years old watching full basketball games, like, and studying them, writing down the plays that were being run, figuring out, okay, this player, he's small, he's about my size. What is he doing on the floor? And I did all of the intangible things, right? And it earned, God willing, it earned me a scholarship at the time, right? Like I know I wasn't the most talented, and I was probably the least talented person in my recruiting class, you
wow,
know. But
it
when you work
that isn't the
hard,
biggest flex support in a while, brother. Hey, man, hey, see?
it was it.
Wow.
Like it was the hard work that got me there, and and I believe that to be like a staple in life, period, right? It's a non-negotiable to work hard. And
Yeah,
that's my opinion. We can go on a tangent on that, but hard work
yeah,
beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I love that quote. And I think I heard KD say it, but I'm sure plenty of people would say it. But hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard every single time, And I think that's a
that's
great message
$1,000,000
for
worth
them.
of game. $1,000,000 worth of game.
Yeah.
That's why, like, it's working with these kids, like, I'm ready for all the smoke. I tell these kids all the time, "Man, you guys wanna argue? You wanna go back and forth? Let's go." Because at the end of every single argument I've had with every single one of my kids or even one of the parents that come at me, at the end of it, it all ends the same. "Are you right, Mr. Green. You right." Like, "I know. I know." Because, the slogan to Green Ties is traditional values for modern times. Now,
Yeah.
I am very, very aware of what I was doing by putting traditional values in there. Okay, I know exactly what I was doing because even sometimes when I put up this tent and I'm out in public and I, got the whole booth together and everything, boy, traditional values for modern times. I see somebody from 50 yards read this thing and be like, boom, now they're beelining straight to me, walking through the festival, walking straight through the park. I'm talking here. I see you coming here. I'm here. You're getting closer here. And people want, and the number one thing I hear and everything is obviously a lot of attitude. And it comes up to, well, what's that mean? Huh? What's traditional values? You know what that makes me feel like, right? Like, first off, hello.
Yeah.
Number two, hey, what an amazing slogan, right? That had you walk all the way over here. So
Yeah.
just passionate. And I love that passion. But perfect. If I have a chance to explain, I would love. Oh, cool. Okay, great. Traditional values. I understand that's bothering you. So let's drop the word traditional and let's just use the word universal. Universal values for modern times. Wherever this young man goes on the planet, he's going to have to stand up straight. He's going to have to give a good handshake, make good eye contact, act with integrity, be a gentleman. No matter where he goes, don't make this political. Don't make this anything of the such. We don't have time for this, and that's not what I'm here for. When I say to these young men, be a man, I'm not talking about violence or oppression or any of the such. I feel, men, we've been put in this place for a reason, and we should be very, very grateful, if not happy, that we're obligated to be providers and protectors and, all this classic stuff that we want to do. And I use this example all the time, like, to some of our stronger women, shouts out respect that, that don't necessarily need men. But if someone came in here with a gun, I would do one of these real quick.
Yeah.
Not because I think I'm better than you or stronger than you, or you can't defend yourself against a bullet. It's just how I'm wired and how I feel. And with my face, I'd be my first way to heaven and be like, God, you saw me, right? No hesitation, baby. Like, right there, right? I'm good. Um, but
Yeah.
I think, out of the modern man past 20, 30 years, the disintegration that I'm supposed to feel badly about naturally feeling like this. And I think that's kind of where we've gone off. And that's why I feel Green Ties is going so well. Cause I think we've gone so far off the Richter that we just kind of need to have a little course correction and everything and just get back to being polite, being back to being respectful and allowing gentlemen to flourish.
Yeah. No, I have no disagreements in that. I have no disagreements in that. And I think the teachings that you're doing right now for these young men is exactly what the next generation needs, as the world is doing what the world is doing, just to say it in a politically, yeah, PC way, right? Um, all right. Well,
Yeah,
we touched
absolutely.
on gentlemen, and I want to do something that I'm going to start doing more on this show. And I'm going to quote you, and I want you to expand on it. Okay.
Okay.
So the first quote I got from you is: "A gentleman's aspiration is not to be a player. It's to be charming. It's to be polite." Define gentleman in 2026. What does that look like today? And why is that the aspiration for our young men? And we kind of just touched on it, but I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I just think some of these words that we don't really use anymore are so important, like poised, to be in control. More of a stoic mind and just choosing logic over feelings. And really just being, you're in this nice little box, man. You're safe here, baby. Personally, I don't yell and I don't scream. You just can't get me there. You're yelling at me. I apologize. I've offended you. Can I make it up to you? Is there anything I can do about it? No. Then I'll apologize again. Then I'll excuse myself. No, no, very simply, very short and cut. Um, I just think, I think men in general, I think the number one feeling, especially our young men feel is, I think we're empathetic. I think men, we just care. We care about everything. But usually every emotion, especially young men, every emotion we feel turns into anger. So I'm disappointed. I'm really upset. You know, I feel less than. That hurts my feelings and makes me mad. Or I'm embarrassed. Now I'm super angry. Or I'm disrespected. I'm more angry. And I think, having this kind of modern day gentleman kind of box will really kind of save us from that. And I know we've been talking mostly about men in society, but the basis of this is our women. And I strongly feel if we have a generation of gentlemen that are polite, respectful, and looking for, I don't want to say marriage material, that these young ladies that are maybe are, a little more promiscuous or dressing a little bit scandalous and everything. I believe if we have a generation of men that are not accepting these type of women, the women will change and society will kind of change as a whole if I can't take you home to mama, you know, or you bring one of those type,
Right.
women home and everything like that. They're going to be like, what's going on? You know, um,
What is and you touched on it just briefly, but the stoicism, the mind of how they approach life situations, and what does it mean for these young men to pick that up in their day to day?
I think it's going to be one of the biggest pivots in their life. Cause when you just, even what I say to, I'm saying I have a daughter myself that's 15 years old. Um, And something, I always say to her is when we're focusing on life and everything, it's facts and feelings. Let's always focus on the facts because you're gonna feel differently about things later. And with with stoicism and just being in control, we can bypass the feelings. So being a gentleman and staying in that box, you're never really, even if people react to you and it's a negative react, as long as you don't overreact, which I think a lot of people do, that's when you're apologizing. Someone did something to you, you know, and it made you feel a certain type of way. So you acted out in this way. But once, the best, remedy for anger is delay. take a seat for a second, sit on it and everything. You're gonna feel differently later about this whole thing, and if we can just get there quicker, is what I'm really focused on. And as far as men being confident with women in such a day and age where men don't really even go up to women and talk anymore, there's such an online presence and it's such a disconnect and everything that being polite and respectful is a way to speak to somebody without feeling like you're begging or you're chasing or you're being thirsty or anything like that. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with a man to go up to a woman and say something sweet, polite, and charming and leave it at that. What a beautiful day. You look amazing, and I hope that your day gets better, or something of the sorts, or say something more poetic, and leave it at that, and move on without without the hey baby, what's going on and everything, and
Yeah.
feeling like more women and womanizing is some type of a attribute that a man has to have to be respected by other men.
Yeah. And that's I talk about this with my dad funny enough. It's like um I think hip hop's done that, especially to a lot of our brown and black men, specifically. And even our brown and black women, where their frames of mind have changed from this, the charming, the politeness to the way it is today, currently. And, I know if I said charming to someone today, they may think that's like a manipulation thing, which is very interesting to me, right? Where charming is actually just in my opinion, right? I don't know the definition, but to be charming is to just be kind. And that's a lot of the times, like and I remember growing up, and this is a fun backstory. It's like because I was kind to people, you were seen as a flirt, or uh you were trying to, hit on someone. And it's like, no, I just like your shoes. I just really wanted you to know that I liked your shoes. That's it. I wasn't doing anything more than that. But it was seen as though, like, as time's gone on, that I was doing something manipulative or trying to be charming, so to speak. And I think a lot of this, and we're piggying back into it, but I think a lot of this has to do with, again, how you lead yourself, right? And how you lead yourself dictates how the world is on the external. And so I want you to give me some non-negotiables right now. So if a young man is listening right now, and we're talking about gentleman standards, right? Let's start with three gentleman standards that you actually teach that you believe to be the root of, not only leading yourself, but being a leader later on in life as well.
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost is that perception is reality. Regardless, we don't this imperfect world, we don't judge, we don't judge, we don't judge. I do a really good job of embarrassing myself in front of these kids, just to put things in perspective. So, like, take my look as you can see, I really don't take myself all too seriously, but I take my look very, very seriously because this is how I'm gonna be perceived. And I have so many young men always come up to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Green, you look great, man. You look really sharp." And I'll be like, "Young man, do you want to dress like a gentleman? Do you wanna dress like this?" Half the time they're with their parents, and the kids are like, "Heck yeah, I wanna dress like you." Mom and dad's jaw's on the floor because all he wears is pajamas and Jordans every day, and now he wants to wear a three-piece suit because he's seeing this stuff play out. So I would say first and foremost, respecting yourself in your look. And I tell the kids if I was late today and my suit was dirty and I showed up and I was a little all kind of a mess and everything like that, it would totally tell you that I obviously don't respect you because I'm late and I'm sloppy. And if I'm
Mm,
trying to sell you trying to be me, why the heck would you want to be a guy that's late and all mess and everything? So power perception. Um, I would say the next is being so words are so powerful. Just the art of articulation and reading and expanding your vocabulary. There's an amazing correlation between your behavior and your level of vocabulary. It's really, really insane. to know that if you have better ways to express yourself, happy, sad, or in between, it reflects on your behavior because you can actually articulate how you feel. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm mad. You're not really angry. You're actually devastated right now because you're disappointed in something. Those are other feelings we can talk about. If we can get there, we can get deeper and really unpack this. Because if you're angry, you're angry. Okay. That's all you're going to share with me. I don't, you being disappointed in something else. Now there's an action that happened. What made you angry? You know, so definitely using your words powerfully and speaking into truth and not, that's why I try to get the middle school kids before they start finding out, how successful lying can be at
Hmm.
first, but how short-lived it really is, and how telling the truth just really just frees you, and just how to speak to people. Um, and I would just say the third thing that I would really just put in is just your faith in yourself, and just that everything you're really looking for is already inside of you, and you really just got to find it in you. And I it's one of the hardest things I teach and I explain to them and everything is the belief in yourself will radiate outside of you. And I use the example like if you believe in yourself tremendously and people around you and you're talented and you got these gifts and you're great and everything, people around you are like, "Yeah, man, you know, you know, Dorian's amazing, man. He might make it. He might make it, da, 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 he's talented. He might make it." To the point where, as you said, you're putting in the work, baby. You're shining. You're doing your thing. You got it up and going. And now your level of belief that's radiating out of you is he's gonna make it. Sooner or later, he's gonna make it. And when you flip this over here, this is when the world comes to help you. This is when the world wants to get involved. This when guests are coming to you and people are reaching out to you. And this is when the world starts gravitating to you because nobody wants to push the train to get it started.
Yeah.
But but God Almighty, do people want to hop on the train as soon as it starts moving, right?
One
And
100%.
and this is all internal. This is a belief and a work ethic thing, and putting in the work and doing it to the point where yeah, he can talk, he could teach some classes. Oh, he's talking, he's teaching classes, he's putting in
Mm.
the work, he's over here, he's doing this. This is how you flip over, and that had really nothing to do with anybody but myself. Taking my look seriously, keeping my word, and my belief in myself, and something I said in that class, the first quote that you had that led up to that was people rarely doubt me and my abilities because I don't doubt myself. And that's kind of just
That's so
the-
powerful, dude. That's
yeah.
so powerful because I and I was gonna ask, would you say that's the hardest thing to relay to someone, the belief in self? Or
Abs-
like what's the
Absolutely.
hardest one for your young kids to live out consistently?
It is the
Yeah.
belief. It is the belief. It is the belief. These things all come together. Funny enough, because it needs to start there. Because what Henry Ford had an amazing saying is that whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And I explain that to the kids that come up to me like, "Yeah, Mr. Green, I don't think I'm going to be anybody." Like, there's a good chance that's going to happen, young man, unless we do something. Compared to the young men, like Mr. Green, I'm about to be somebody. Like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. We're going to get you there. But that's why the course and the class is so important because it gives them the opportunity to really start building all of these things. Like, take the suit for example. Yeah, young man, how you feeling today? Yeah, I'm good. It's whatever. I feel cool. All right, cool. Well, how do you feel, Mr. Green? Like, I'm gonna ask you some questions to let you know how I feel. Like, you ever wore a suit? Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 for sure. Well, how'd you feel? Oh man, I felt good. Da, 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 da. Well, how do you think you looked? I told you, I know I looked good because I felt good. I walked around, I was this and this and da da da. Well, I was ready to take the world on. Okay. So remember when I asked you how you feel? How do you think I feel?
Mm, mm.
Like, uh, like I feel on top of the world, baby. And
That's
it's
such
what?
a powerful reframe for them. That's such a powerful reframe for them because now they see it in question form like, "Oh, I answered for him." Like,
And
it's
how
like
am I
I
walking? And how dare I or how can I muster up all this energy to walk around like, how you doing? How you
yeah.
doing? because I feel great. I feel good. I feel powerful. I feel strong. And, it's like walk like a duck, talk like a duck is probably a duck. And I give the example, it's not fake it till you make it, because if you're putting the suit on, you're you're keeping your word, you're becoming a gentleman, you're reading and everything, and you're actually acting upon who you want to be and you're doing what you want to do. You're not you're not pretending. You're actually that person. You're in the works. You're on the path. You put the suit on because you need the suit. You need to speak better. You know you need to rise up and everything to actually be in this room, but you're actually doing the work to get you in the room. That alone. You're not faking it till you make it. You're becoming the man you want to be, and you are presently the man you want to be. And those are just three simple decisions you can make automatically because you're actually working towards it. And that is what Green Ties does. It gives them the platform to really explore these feelings. Well, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a boss. Great. I hope you're 12 years old, man. I hope we start like 6 different businesses that all fail before you're 18. I hope they all fail because by the time you're 18, and I give them the example, like, well, don't think I'm super privileged, man. Don't get fooled by my suit and my Yale manners, man. It took me a long time to get here. And I'm not winning now in life because I've been winning this whole time. I've just lost so many times that I know how to win. I know what I need to do for Green Ties. I know exactly what I have to do to get where I want to go. Question is, am I going to put the work in?
That's powerful, man. That's powerful, and I think there's so many things. And I'm gonna quote my uncle Big Dog on this one. He used to say, "When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you perform well." And that's how he used to get us to tuck in our shirts and make sure our shoes were tied right, and making sure that we had clean undershirts. Like he was always he was like change your drawers before the next game. He would always say that. And it's funny, but I as an adult, for me, I understand that now, because, even when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you genuinely do perform well. It's just this, is it science backed? I don't know. But if it's the truth in my eyes, right? It's the way I see things. That's
It
so powerful. Um, man, I want to touch on this, quote. We're getting short on time here, but I want to touch real quick about a quote that you also said. You said, "Gentleman conduct will take you further than education ever will."
yeah.
Explain that, but I want you to do it in a way that isn't, I would say, disrespectful towards education.
Oh, no, absolutely. Um, we we gotta play well with others. You can be the best at whatever you want to do and be the best, but you're gonna have to work with people. There's just no other way around it. I am, I lack the education to really have green ties. And I'm vulnerable enough to say that. I am learning as I go along. But what I'm really good at is bringing people that are smarter than myself into the fold. Shout out to my board of directors and all my most of my board are women, surprisingly enough. All this gentleman man stuff I talk about, I got a whole little tank of lady sharks to protect my gentleman self that looking out on the back end. Um, and having to work with others though, and it's real though. Like for our student athletes, your attitude will definitely dictate your altitude because who wants to work with somebody that just is not a joy to be around? And if you're just a good person in general and you have good friends and good networks and you're friends with other successful people, this will be the biggest benefit in your whole life. Cause I said in one of my talks that you own your own company, everything's great. You know all these other owners, you have all these great relationships and everything. God forbid things go bad for you. You have a network full of people that are successful and loving and caring just like yourself that would love to help you because you've already given that favor out to some of their family members or to another business owner or something of the sorts. You being a great person and being just a joy to be around will get you the right people around you and will almost force you to be, we know the saying, you're the nucleus of the people you hang out with. You wanna be around good people, you wanna be around honest people, you wanna be around hardworking people, you wanna be around successful people. These people all have very similar attributes as if they're not robbing, stealing, and conniving, and just hurting other people, and that's kind of an attribute of people that are not really polite and not respectful, um, that I've seen in my time, and really just being able to, play this out, because this isn't my advice, this is what I'm doing to achieve everything that I'm achieving. But you need the education to be in the room. There's no way not to get the education, but you just can't get lost in the relationships because we know tremendous people that have degrees and everything that lack the social skills to really catapult their careers.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that it's like a 50-50 in a way, but I lean more towards the relationship side over the education side because you'll gain the education by getting in the room for being who you are. So a lot of the times that you think you got to go to school and learn the X's and O's, so to speak, or the formulas and stuff. And in reality, it's you have to experience it. Like that's becoming dependable, in leadership, and that's moving us away from this like almost amateurism in a sense, right? Where you think you're just still in school, like and writing it down, which is fine. Like I'm in school right now, you know what I mean? So it's school isn't bad, education isn't bad, but having these conversations is me getting in the room with the people who are doing it at a higher level, right? So not only am I learning the nuances of it, I'm in the weeds as well with the people who are grinding it out and figuring things out as they go. And so I think that's a huge takeaway there, especially for these young men that may be listening or even the adults that are listening, right? I think like there's a big piece of this that you could take away of just like it is your network, but it is your education as well, right? So don't fall short on the education, but you got to get in the room first. you know,
Oh,
you
it's gotta,
definitely
yeah, you
got to
gotta
get
get
to
those
the room.
social skills. No, seriously, because it's the simple comparison. You got the degree, I got the degree. We go, now we got to go meet the boss and everything. Let's not live in the fantasy world. If the boss enjoys your personality more than mine, you make him laugh. You're a joy to be around. He's like, this is a great guy to work with. Compared to I'm over here stiff saying, "Oh, I'm the best and I do work and I work hard and I do this," and you're over there like, man, I love life. I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about work. I'm passionate about your company. And you're just having this great conversation. This guy's gonna be like, uh, "That's we don't." The boss likes me more and everything. We don't want to say that's the truth, but work on your people skills, bro. It's mm, yeah. So yeah.
No, it's the truth though. It's the truth, and you know, as a leader, your people skills matter because when you're leading other people, they want to relate to you. Now, there are different types of leadership that work. Yes, we can get into the school definitions of, the different types of leadership.
Yeah,
But if we
absolutely.
look at the ones that are highly successful, they all have people skills. Now, obviously, there's anomalies, right? There's anomalies, and I'm sure there's people in the comments of saying like, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. Sure,
Yeah.
there's anomalies, but
Yeah,
across
there's
the
billions of
board,
people on the
the
planet, and you wanna
social
pick a couple.
aspect of yeah, but that's what we're gonna get in the comments, right? That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm telling you, there's the vast majority are people that know how to lead other people, which takes the social skill, the social aspect, the gentleman-like behavior for our men, and the gentlewomen behavior for our women, right? However you want to phrase that. I think I just made that up. I'm gonna coin that, put a trademark there. Gentlewoman's not real. I'm gonna take that one. But all right. So we're gonna close here. For the listener, who wants to stop leading like an amateur, who wants to take a take at least these values. And I was about to say traditional values, but we're just going to say values from the gentleman, from the green ties. What steps should they do? What steps should they work on this week? Right, like something actionable this week to move them towards that.
I would say we all have our own little bad habits. And I would say to start working on some of the things already first and foremost that you know you need to. Because if you're listening to that and you say you're bad, there are already a couple of things coming to your mind. To more, I would say the first thing that you can start doing, number one, is be in control of your word, and that could be first off starting by try to cuss less. Try to find different words. Try to expand your vocabulary and actually start articulating yourself in a better form. People will enjoy it more, and people will respect you when you just kind of open up the conversation a little bit more, and just owning your word. A gentleman keeps his word. Be known for being a man of substance and value. And when you say something that you're gonna do something, you better break your back to keep your word. And how you can do that on the flip side, because if you can't do it, then don't say you can do it. Don't own it. Own it. You know what? I'm gonna try my best. I can't give you my word on that, but this is what I'm gonna do. But if you give that word and you actually and deliver on that, the strength that will give you and just your reputation in general in this world to be a leader, that John keeps his word. He said he gave me his word. So that means no matter what, I'm gonna be gritting and grinding through the grass, the dirt, whatever, to get there on time because I told you I gave you my word, I'm gonna be there. I think keeping your word and being a man of just being trustworthy and of substance is easier than we think. We just let ourselves off the hook. And I think maybe even society wise, we're just so used to maybe people being disappointing us and everything that we allow people to kind of slide as well. And holding yourself accountable and holding your other leaders that are around you accountable um, to keep their word and to say that I'm disappointed that you promised me something and you didn't keep your word. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's okay, but that moment of uncomfortability of keeping your word, that would be the most golden thing. Because if anything I'm known for in my career, in my business out here, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm for sure going to do it.
I love that. I love that. But John, man, thank you so much. Where can people support Green Ties? Where can they follow your work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, first off, just shout out to you, Dorian, man. I know we've been trying to put this together and everything. All respect and love and praise, my brother, for Green Ties. All the glory to the kids for showing up. It's really this the bigger this thing gets, the less it is about me, more just obviously all about them. So you can find us at greenties.org. For looking on Instagram, we are greenties_org. That kind of will connect you to all the other pages and everything that we got going on. I got a lot of the footage of what we're doing. We are building momentum. I've been saving this for the last minute, but Green Ties, we just got our first school contract. So the floodgates are going to completely open because last thing for all my
Oh,
struggling, all my business owners and everything, you can't get a school contract unless you have a school contract.
mm,
Welcome to the world, baby. So how do you get one if you can only get one if you have one? This is what we're dealing with business. Persevere, keep your word, be a man of substance, and the universe will make a way. And we've done that. So thank you so much, man. That's all I can say is I'm just grateful for being here and thank you.
oh, of course, man. And last one, message to the 15-year-old John. One sentence.
If I could go back in time, little Jon Green, money's not going to take away the pain. Money's not the answer.
Love that. Love that, man. John, I appreciate you. Um, as we know, Think Like a Leader, all our conversations matter. So to everyone listening, Think Like a Leader again exists to end this amateur leadership that we see going on in our lives. And I believe John just gave us some real game, whether you're a young adult, whether you're a young person, or if you're already adult, well into their 30s, 40s, 50s, right? I think a lot of the non-negotiables, the values that we spoke about today, are something that we can really take. And the last piece he left you guys with, keep your word, right? So if you're someone that hasn't been able to keep their word over the period of time, focus on that this week. Focus on just keeping your word. That's it. We're not asking you to change your entire life. Just keep your word, right? If something in this episode challenged you, don't just nod, do the work. All right. Act like somebody who's watching. Act like somebody's watching you.
I
Okay.
like that. I
All
like
right.
that.
Now, all right. And if you got value, of course, subscribe, leave a review, all of those nice pleasantries there at the end. Share this with a person who definitely needs to tighten up their leadership that you've seen at work or at home or in the community. I'm Dorian Albert, and this is Think Like a Leader. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again, John.
Thank you very much, man. God bless.